Skincare is a $150 billion industry. It's one of the most crowded, oversaturated, and competitive industries in the e-commerce landscape. And if you look closely, only a few select brands are dominating this industry. These brands are capturing the majority of the market share and charging prices that the other players only dream of charging. But how? All of these brands follow these same principles to position their brands as the premium actors in their markets and generate multiple 8 figures and for some of them 9 figures in sales every single year. They've mastered the art of turning a simple object into a must-have object of desire. This is the advertising playbook for cosmetics and skincare brands. I've actually spent the past 5 years using these exact same principles to scale some of our clients to multiple 7 figures in sales through the principles that I'm going to be sharing with you in this video. And today I'm going to analyze 4 brands that are some of the most successful in the skincare industry. And I'm going to analyze their creative positioning, their advertising strategy that have helped them to position their brand as a premium actor in a sea of irrelevant brands. So let's get straight into it. So what I wanted us to do first is take a look at the brands that I've selected for these videos. You've got La Mer, you've got Augustinus Bader, you have Biologique Recherche, and these are some of the biggest brands today in the space that garner a lot of attention and that are viewed by the majority as premium. So you've got Augustinus Bader. It's a brand that's been founded by a biomedical scientist that moved away from traditional beauty and leaned into medical authority. They are known for their aggressive price points, and although some people might argue that product is not worth it or it's way overpriced or whatever, the brand expansion has been nothing short of amazing over the past few years. Then you've got Biologique Recherche. It's a brand that's really interesting because they rely on exclusivity and mystery. They don't go the traditional retail route. They really rely on this consultation first model, and it allows them to really be exclusive and feel like an elite club. And so the customer that they attract is very, very particular with their skincare, very particular with which brands they purchase. And so it's a match made in heaven for them. And the last one is La Mer, which has been founded by an aerospace physicist, Max Huber. So these brands are radically different. They cater to different customers that need different things from the skincare brands they purchase from. And so the only thing that really ties them together and the common denominator between all of these brands is how they position their brand, the authority that they have in the marketplace, their advertising best practices, and the creative direction. The first pillar I wanted to focus on is their product positioning. A brand's success is often tied to multiple different variables that are tied together, that kind of collide in the perfect way, and it really just transforms the brand into something that's kind of ethereal. Here, what I want to focus on is a variable that's very, very important, and it all stems from one question. What does this brand mean? And so when we start digging into that question, it brings in the backstory. And not only that, but also how does this story justify the price? That, in essence, is positioning. And the brands at the top of skincare industry have answered that question with precision and commitment that most brands will never achieve. And they do it through these 3 things. The first one being the origin story, because it answers a fundamental question that the customer needs an answer to, which is, why does this brand even exist? You can take La Mer, for example. Max Huber suffered an extreme accident that had him burnt, essentially, and he created that product based on his personal struggle. And so that backstory became the foundational skeleton of his brand, and a lot of customers that take their skin seriously and relate to that personal struggle. He essentially created the formula that would kind of be the backbone of every single product that he sold in the future. And the story is powerful because it's not made up and it's rooted in personal struggle. For Augustinus Bader, it's another story, but nonetheless, it's very powerful as well. The founder spent 30 years wound healing before he even sold a product. He developed a hydrogel that accelerated burn repair without scarring. And his business partner convinced him to apply that formula to a cream. And so he launched it in 2018, no marketing. It was just backed by science, and a lot of people that resonated with that angle took the bet and started purchasing the product. All in all, you can see that these brands are targeting the same high-end customer, the same customer that is willing to go and spend the extra money for a quality product. However, they're doing it through their backstory, which gives them a wildly different angle. So remember this, you need to make your customer feel heard and understood with your backstory, right? It needs to resonate deeply. If you're selling an eczema product that is rooted in your own personal struggle or a family member's personal struggle, that then becomes your backstory, and you can kind of communicate what your product does through emotion because you're tying it into a story, and that becomes powerful. So remember, all your brand story does is it is the bridge between the situation you were in and the situation your ideal customer wants to be in. And it does it in a way which is filled with emotion, and it's more relatable than me just telling you, hey, I created this skincare product for people that feel XYZ and that want to achieve XYZ. Cool, that's a marketing angle that can work. It's not rooted in emotion. If I say, hey, I've experienced XYZ for so many years, and you describe the emotions and the personal situation that you went through, and then you link it with your epiphany moment where you were like, hey, I need to create a product or a solution to this problem, and you end up with the solution that you created, and that yielded great results in resolving the past situation you were in, that's a backstory that a lot of people can get behind. The bigger your total addressable market with that story, the better you'll do using that backstory as a marketing angle and as a positioning for your brand in general. Now, this leads us to the second pillar, which is pricing. Premium brands understand that pricing isn't a result of positioning. Pricing is positioning. When La Mer positions a cream at $200 per ounce, they are inherently positioning that product into a category of its own. They're making a statement about who the customer they're going after is. And oftentimes, the first thing that customers see is the price tag, right? We all reach out for the tag before we even take a look at the packaging or whatever. And it's the first statement that is made to us by the brand. You can see it with Biologique Recherche that take it another level, is essentially they are very intentional at hiding the price, making sure that they're buying stock from platforms like Amazon, and they want to pull out their products from platforms that aren't authorized. You go on their website, you can't check the price. You need to go to a select authorized reseller, and that process gives you a lot of friction. And that friction is what separates a premium brand from a brand that is accessible to anyone. Here, the difficulty of access is part of the buying experience itself. Augustinus Bader did something else. He launched a brand at what would be considered an aggressive pricing, and their co-founder said, when it comes to premium skincare, the customer needs to understand why they need it before they invest at a high level. And so what they did is they backed their pricing with a lot of research, a lot of data. And then the last pillar that these guys all rely on is the unique element about their brand. It's not enough to just set a high price and hope for customers to come and purchase from you. You need to have a unique element about your business. And all of these brands have them. It's what we call a signature element. Augustinus Bader has the TFC8, Biologique Recherche has Lotion P50, La Mer has Miracle Broth, and all of these guys rely on these signature pieces in their marketing and turned it into their single most powerful marketing asset. So this uniqueness that, all of these brands that we talked about have, their pricing and their backstory all contribute into making them a category of one. So now that you understand pricing and positioning, how do you translate that visually to your customer? And that is what pillar 2 is, which is creative direction. Every single premium brand out there in the skincare industry has mastered the art of building a world around their product. Every asset, every image, every ad, and every campaign brings customers from where they are into a world where they experience a set of feelings that is meticulously crafted by the brand so that it helps the customer engage into the buying experience. And it reinforces the selling points, especially in the skincare industry. Skincare brands are fundamentally different at how they shoot their products. You see, mass market skincare brands show you the product. Premium skincare brands make you feel the product. And the tool that you use is light and texture. They want you to really experience the viscosity of the cream. They want you to feel how silky it is. They want to show you how it feels having the cream in your hands versus in your face. They want you to feel the packaging as well, the weight of it, how hefty it is or how light it is. Essentially what they want to do is they want to create a sensory experience in everything they do. And they do it by using light and texture. You can see at Augustinus Bader, for example, how they shoot their products. The brief here that was given to their launch photographer was to reframe the body. They asked him to innovate with light, angles, and crops to create compositions. You can see Biologique Recherche as well, but they go in the opposite direction, essentially with functional, almost like clinical and visual angle, like flat lights, minimal shadows. There's nothing like around the product. La Mer, on the other hand, they use deep atmospheric oceanic light. They want to submerge you in water, and they've ingrained the ocean into every single visual decision, even their name. So What does this mean practically for your brand? How can you align your creative direction with your brand positioning, your story, etc.? Well, the first thing you need to remember, smooth textures signal gentleness and luxury. Show that your product is a silky, rich kind of cream. Shoot it with angles that show that element of your product. Show how high quality it is, and the texture. You can do a gentle pour or a gentle smear on the face. That communicates luxury. The second element is to use sharp contrast because that communicates a sciencey vibe. You've got contrast between your product and where it's positioned, the background or the surface it's sitting on. A lot of contrast there, a lot of shadows, clean edges. You can play on those elements to communicate the seriousness of your brand. The third element, dark backgrounds create desire. Light backgrounds communicate purity and simplicity. Depending on which way you want to position your product, you need to play on those elements as well. And you need to communicate that to your studio or whoever is shooting your product, or if you're using AI to play on those elements as well. The second element is the environment. The environment in which your product lives is a signal to your customers. You see, this is where most brands fails in the DTC space. If you're shooting in a generic white studio or a bathroom that really just doesn't match your backstory or what you're trying to tell your customer, that creates a friction and a cognitive dissonance in your customers' minds, and it's not good. So your brand's environment is your address. Where your product is placed physically and visually is very, very important because it tells the customer exactly what kind of product they're looking at. The third element of creative direction is casting, who you put in front of the camera. You see, in mass market beauty, casting is about aspiration at the broadest level. You'll have campaigns that show different types of people, different demographics because you're going so broad. And so that's mass market. For premium, we go hyper specific. The model or the person you're putting in front of the camera, it's there to sell the identity of the people using the product. And this decision flows from your positioning because who represents your brand is more important than the product itself. So now let's talk about the last pillar, which is the advertising best practices. Okay, if you have a skincare brand that you're trying to position as premium, you'll want to stick to this pillar because it really will dictate the performance of your business, the performance of your ads, and how fast you can scale. There's one fundamental problem with premium advertising. Most of the tactics that we use as direct response marketers will not work if you're trying to position your brand as a premium actor, especially if you're trying to go to the extreme of what we call premium. So things like urgency or discounts, and running discounts every single day of the year, it won't work. Premium brands, obviously this is a spectrum, right? But I'm giving you guidance here on how to bridge between the theory and practicality. Premium brands need to sell their products, but they cannot be seen as though they're selling their product. And that's a distinction between mass market skincare and premium skincare. So the three practices that they use to sell, and I'm going to discuss the first one, which is to sell the ritual, not the product. Mass market skincare brands are built on one premise. Here's a problem, here's a solution, buy. Premium brands tend to not focus on the problem so much. They focus on the ritual because the moment you show someone's skin as a problem, you've entered a transactional frame, and that is completely inconsistent with the premium positioning. And so in practice, your hook is never a pain point, it's an invitation to a world. It's about seducing the customer. And so the second pillar here is the proof ad, is to let someone else say something good about you. Here, I'm not talking about a UGC creator, I'm talking about someone credible in your space. It's kind of like authority hijacking, where you're showing someone that is trusted in the space or someone that has some kind of authority speaking on behalf of your brand. Someone that has a lot of expertise in their space, a facialist, a dermatologist, a doctor, someone that has a lot of credibility in their space that is recommending your product, not only because they're paying them, but because your product is amazing. So here, we're only looking for precise expert testimony that can kind of elevate your brand even more. Now, let's talk about retargeting. You see, when someone has seen your ads, seen your brand, but hasn't purchased, there's an itch of just showing them a discount, just getting them through the finish line, right? And that works really well for some brands that we work with, but for premium brands, it doesn't, because it destroys everything that we've built, all the goodwill that we've built across the top of funnel ads, the middle funnel ads, everything that we've worked towards is destroyed by us being way too excited to make them a customer. What actually converts even more is more education. It's an invitation into a world. Now they're in your world. They're just not that convinced. So we're kind of creating a web of content to show them what the world is. So you're showing them how to apply the product, product, when to apply it, how the benefits translate into the lives of your past customers, what your results look like. Because now your content on the retargeting side really answers the question, is it really worth the price tag? The message is not really buy now because it'll be gone tomorrow. Here's more education, because our core customer understands these three elements and you need to understand them too if you want to become a customer of ours. So hopefully this list of principles showed you exactly how to position your skincare brand as a premium actor and be able to command higher prices, charge more, and just make more profits and deliver an outstanding experience to your customers. And if you have a brand that you're looking to scale to 7 figures, multiple 7 figures, even 8 figures in sales in the next few months, I invite you to click on the link below in the description. You'll be able to book a call with myself and I'll show you exactly how we would plan the scaling roadmap for your business in the next few months. I've also opened up a private community that you can join for free. The link is in the description. Feel free to join. I drop SOPs, I drop updates there, and it's a fun space to be in. And let me know in the comments what type of content you'd like to see in the future. I'm always interested in learning more about what you find valuable so that we can create more awesome videos for you. Hopefully you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.